This podcast is for professional voice teachers to answer the question, how do I grow my teaching business and even break out of that one-on-one lesson model so that I can reach and teach who I want whenever I want. I'm your host, Allie Tyler, voice teacher of over a decade and marketing and business coach for fellow voice teachers. Welcome to the Voicepreneur Podcast. Hello, lovely voice teacher. Welcome back to another episode of the Voicepreneur Podcast. This is a fun episode, and we are diving into the infinite topic of your ideal student. I feel like we talk about it a lot. And if you are new here, then hey, welcome to this concept of choosing your ideal student. Why is this important? Oh my gosh. Well, be sure to go and check out some of the previous episodes where we talk all about why and how to do this. And actually, kind of want to dive a little deeper into the how today, but I want to give it to you in kind of a new perspective. And this comes directly from a voice teacher client I've been working with. So one of the things that I offer as a business coach for voice teachers is Voxer. And if you've never heard of Voxer, oh my gosh, well, I guess I'm going to do a plug here. Voxer is awesome. It's an app I think that every voice teacher can use. So essentially what it is it's multimedia within one platform, right? You can do, they call it a walkie-talkie, where you do kind of voice messages back and forth to each other. You can type it out. You can send videos. You can send images, and it's all just really seamless and easy, but it's on an app, so you don't have to do that through text messaging, which is great for one-on-one clients. So Voxer, V-O-X-E-R, this is something that you can also do as an add-on, and this is something I do for my one-on-one coaching. So you have the individual session where you can just book a one-off anytime that you want to, and that is a higher price, pretty standard. And then we have the regular option, exactly like voice lessons. So essentially, you're just paying me once per month, and we are seeing each other twice a month for an hour. And then on those weeks that we have off, and basically really anytime throughout the week, I'm on Voxer 4 days a week. You can ask me really whatever questions you want to, whether that's marketing, business, word copy, branding, sales pages. In fact, the other thing that you can do is you can replace one of your sessions with an outsourced task that maybe you don't want to do, such as editing your website or your email funnel or any of the stuff that we talk about on this podcast. I will happily do that for you because I love doing it and I know how to do it. It's really easy and fun. So I totally went on a tangent here, but the reason I wanted to bring it up is actually so that you could get inspired for your own business. This is always what we are doing here on the podcast. Anything I tell you is to inspire and help you. If you do want to have something like that as an add-on, you could do something like that on Voxer. That actually has nothing to do with what I was talking about, though. I promise I segue, but I always come back home. At least I try to. So I was chatting with a client on Voxer, and she was asking me, how do you choose your ideal students if you have so many people in your studio that you love? And I was like, ooh, this is a great question. So this is kind of what I wanted to talk about today, because there's a couple of things that I think will really help if you are in this same conundrum where you're like, I love so many of my students. I got my young, like adolescent teenagers who are my musical theater people. And then I got my adults who are like doing their karaoke night. I don't know, right? At least in my experience, that was totally the case for me too. I just love so many types of people. So how do we pick an ideal student when we are trying to market our business and we just can't pick one? It's really hard. The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to go and listen to the episode on how to do that, because I actually do have a whole episode on how to actually, kind of more specifically pick your ideal student when you have multiple people that you are trying to work with. But this is a kind of a piggyback episode off of that. I'll be sure to link that inside of the show notes because I can't remember the episode number and I'm not going to look it up right now. But this is going to piggyback off of that. This is specifically why the best students that are in your studio are not necessarily your ideal students. I know that sounds really weird, but here's what I mean. And actually, I need to go backwards a little bit here. Ideal client work is hard. I want to recognize that. It is hard to figure this out. And oftentimes, we are in one of two stages. We are either in a learning stage of our business or a growing stage of our business. I haven't talked about this super in depth, and I really want to, but here's the thing that I want you to know when it comes to your ideal client and what stage you're in. If you are in the learning stage right now, then picking your ideal client is going to be pretty impossible because you need to learn who that person is, right? You need to learn about who is not your ideal client and how to set boundaries and getting clear on the type of thing that you like teaching to that ideal client and what it is that they help you with and all of that stuff, right? If you are in the growing stage, it's a little bit easier for you because you've been working with students for so long, and so you have that clarity. Now, your job is a little bit different. So just know that whatever stage you're in, your action steps are going to be different. If you're in the learning stage, go back and listen to one of the very first episodes. I think it's episode 3, and get a little glimpse into that. If you are in the growing stage, then here is where I want you to tune in. Here's where I want your ears to perk up. This is super important. Your ideal student is not your best student in your studio. It's not your favorite student. It can be, but it does not have to be. And that is not where you investigate first. Where you investigate first is within yourself. You ask yourself, what do you want to be known for? And who do you want to help? This is what we're talking about when we mean your ideal students. And this is actually the recipe for success. Like, I literally visualize a Venn diagram. On one side, it says your ideal student, right? Who it is that you are helping. And then on the other side, this little bubble, it says who you are, what you want to be known for, your skills, your strengths, your style, you, right? What makes you uniquely you. So that intersection, that little place inside of the Venn diagram, and if you don't know what a Venn diagram is, then I beg of you to go and Google that. But a Venn diagram in the middle is where they intersect, right? So in that intersection is your sweet spot. That is where your magic happens. That is where your business comes to life. What you want to be known for and who you help. This is really important when we're thinking about identifying our ideal student because what you want to be known for may not necessarily cater to your favorite student. And that is a hard pill for teachers to swallow, let me tell you, because we like to save people. We are teachers, we are helpers, we are like guides, right? We like to help people. And so it's so easy for us to be like, oh my God, I love that student so much. They're my favorite. But always want to check in. Is this what I want to be known for? And I'll just give you an example of what I'm talking about here. So some of my favorite students in my studio were high school musical theater singers. These 16, 17-year-olds who are about to apply for colleges. I just love them. I love them so much. I love the drama. I love the learning. I love some of my faves. But I don't want to be known as a musical theater vocal coach. That's not who I am. I don't follow musical theater. I love it. I will be happy to give you some techniques on belting and mixing because I do know how to do that. But just because I'm constantly teaching these teenagers who love musical theater doesn't mean that they are my ideal student. That's key. So you always want to check in. Who do you want to be? What type of teacher do you want to be? So when it comes to marketing, what we actually mean by your ideal student is your target market. That's it. We're just talking about your target market. We're not saying you need to go in and pick out your favorite clients. Now, that does help. I'm not saying your favorite clients aren't those people, right? They can totally be those people, but that's the reverse direction. We don't go there first, right? We don't go to our studio first. We go, okay, what is it that I want to be known for? What is the problem that I solve? And who am I solving it for? I will be real with you and say that this is very much a chicken and egg situation, right? Because the problem that you are solving for is going to be different depending on who it is. And so it's like, okay, do I figure out who it is first, or do I figure out the problem first? And I understand that that is really kind of tricky, right? And I don't know. I don't really have an answer on like what's first. They definitely go intertwined in my professional and personal experience. It's very spiralic. But you still need to know the problem that you are solving and who you are solving it for. That is your target market. That's it. That's all it is for business. Now, what's really fun is that if you are a voice teacher who is doing the service-based thing, but you want to start moving into what we call a product-based business, right? Where you are selling, let's say, an online program or warm-up tracks or something that someone can download digitally, then you are going to be switching up who you are talking to. And actually, you're going to even be switching it up who you're talking to if they join, let's say, a membership, something where you are working with them intimately, but there's still kind of like an online course, curriculum, self-paced sort of thing attached to it as well, which is what we're going to dive into. I promise you it's really, really easy. It's not complicated at all. And it's something that we talk about a lot inside of the Voicepreneur program, really distinguishing the 3 types of ideal students. Are you ready for it? This is where you would want to take notes, or if you want to just save this episode, you can come back to it later. Here it is. So simple. Number 1, ideal client. Clients are for service-based businesses, right? The people that are paying you for voice lessons are your clients. You already know this, but it's very important to know that word client, important terminology, because the second word is your ideal customer. Your ideal customer is somebody who is buying a product, right? Somebody who is buying, let's say, warm-up tracks or an online course that you are not really interacting with, something that is pretty passive, just like you would think of with any type of product where you don't typically interact with them a ton. So just keep that in mind, that how you talk to and market to an ideal client is probably a little different than how you would market to and talk to an ideal customer. And then the third type is your ideal student. I just made that up because I was like, dang, there's no real word for this that I could find, in the business lingo that really is a hybrid of the two, which is that membership model, which is, let's say, a membership model or a group coaching model or some sort of experience where people are watching and consuming and learning content that is, let's say, pre-recorded or it's dripped out on their own terms, self-paced, and there's the component of teaching with you, right? Masterclass, coaching call, Q&A, like anything like that. That is an ideal student to me because it's somebody that is taking a program that is very results oriented, right? Programs have a start and a finish, and there are typically results that happen from it. And if there are results from it, that means you're solving a specific problem. And if you're solving a specific problem, that means you need to know who you're solving that problem for. So it does have that component, like we talked about in the beginning, where you want to make sure you know what it is that you want to be known for, your zone of genius, the problems that you are solving, and then who you are solving those problems for. That might be different than your ideal clients. Ideal clients, totally different thing. Are you kind of hearing the difference now? So ideal clients are for your studio. Ideal students are for something that you are selling online that is basically a hybrid of, let's say, a customer and a client, somebody that is buying a product and somebody that is working with you intimately. So it's actually very simple, and hopefully that makes sense. But if it doesn't, let me know. You can always send me a DM over on Instagram. This is important because when you're considering who your ideal student is, you want to be sure that you are distinguishing whether it's an ideal client, a customer, or a student. This is so helpful. And the reason why it's so helpful is because you can have multiple offers. You do not have to brand everything under one offer, helping one type of person, and it's your favorite type of person in your studio. You can have multiple offers for multiple people, right? You don't have to pick one. You can have different offers for different types of students. I hope that this is giving you some light bulb moments, and let me know if it does. You can always send me a DM over on Instagram at The Voicepreneur. And as always, if you want to learn more about the Voicepreneur program or any of the other offers, you can check the show notes inside of this episode. Yes, this is so great. I'm so excited for you to identify who your ideal student is. If they are a client, customer, or student, let me know. I would love to hear more about what you're working on. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. I so appreciate you spending your time with me, and I hope that this was helpful for you. I look forward to catching you in the next episode.